I'm Kat Tim, filling in for Greg because he's making out with a mirror. So, how was your summer? That's great. Or, that's terrible, depending on whatever you just said to the TV. Mine's been busy, because I've been on tour. It's been a great year for blonde women who yell during air travel. Since July, I've been to 9 different cities, from Midland, Texas to St. Louis, Missouri, and I still have 13 more to go before the end of the year. But don't worry. This isn't going to be a monologue where I just repeat over and over again that tickets to all my shows are available now at therealkattimp.com. I want to talk about what I've learned visiting so many different parts of the country. For one, going to the continental breakfast in just pajama bottoms and a bra is frowned upon, even at a Motel 6. Anyway, to be clear, all of these places are different. In St. Louis, I talked with an Uber driver about how cool it is that Nelly and Ashanti are back together. In Texas, my Uber driver said, "What's an Ashanti?" But I've learned that as different as all of these conversations were, all of them were a lot different from the stuff that you hear people talking about on the news. I know what you're thinking. Kat, you work in the news. What are you doing? You're gonna get fired. But don't worry. If I didn't get fired for that time Judge Janine caught me in her office trying on her shoes, I probably won't get fired for this either. Especially because I think it's really important to talk about. Gallup poll data earlier this month found that political polarization has widened on some issues 30 percentage points or more between Republicans and Democrats over the last 2 decades. My first thought? No duh. But even though it might not be surprising, it also low-key sucks. I know that it's not like things are so contentious for no reason. The arrest of a former president and current Republican frontrunner, for example, isn't going to be something people see and just go, meh. I'm not stupid, regardless of what some of your grandmas tell me in the Facebook comments. And by the way, it's spelled T-O-O skinny, not T-O. But because I'm not stupid, I also understand that it's far easier for the government to gain power over us the more divided that we are, especially because Americans hate math. But it can play us against each other and make us afraid. And it makes it easier for them to convince us to give up our rights. Remember the Patriot Act? It remembers everything about you. If you don't, the government doesn't care, as long as it gets to conduct surveillance on you without a warrant. Most of you guys have been on camera as much as I have in the past few years, and you'd even get to go to hair and makeup first. But also, writing off an entire person over a disagreement on a single political issue might mean you could be missing out on some really awesome things about that person. For example, Jesse Waters voted for Trump. I voted for Joe Jorgensen. But I have no idea where I would be without Jesse's advice on where I should buy my hair pieces. Living in a bubble is always easier, especially with an immune system like mine. But much like a degree from DeVry, easier isn't always better. That's why on my tour, I do insist on going to so many different places. I've seen so many things I didn't expect to see. Like a man walk up to me during a meet and greet and say, "I bet I'm your only Priest fan." Yeah, a priest is a fan of me. All my years of being an altar server finally paid off. I'm not joking, look at the photo, that's me. I recorded a video for a 15-year-old girl in St. Louis because her parents told me that she was upset she couldn't join because she had school the next day. I told her she's almost old enough to drop out. I told an old lady in Alabama that I liked her shoes, and she excitedly told me that they were Michael Kors and that she got them for the show. I almost started crying because it was so cute, and I still think about how she's doing, especially since I made her give me her shoes. Oh, also in Alabama, a lesbian with a neck tattoo offered me her number. I said, "Cool, I will give this to Joe Mackey for you." Anyway, at first I wondered, how are all of these different people coming to see the same show? But then I realized it's because we have far more in common than politicians and media want us to think. And it's proven 2 things to me. 1, all the people coming to my shows are not mad at me, thank God. 2, whether you live in Midland, Texas, or St. Louis, Missouri, or Detroit, Michigan, my favorite city in the entire world, I can't wait to go home and do 2 shows in Detroit on October 7th and 8th. There's some stuff that you probably care about. You probably want to be happy. You probably love your family and your friends. And you probably have that one friend that's a pain in the ass, but you're in way too deep to get out now. Actually, a survey published earlier this summer found that about 9 out of 10 Democrats and Republicans agreed on the importance of core values like personal responsibility, fairness, and compassion. But only about a third believed that the other side thought those things were important. It's not that I don't understand the temptation, especially with something like personal responsibility. How can you say you value personal responsibility if you want the government to wipe your ass? And it's fine to debate, but when you debate someone on an issue, remember that that's what you're doing, debating on an issue. You might think the other person's view is bad, but that doesn't mean the person is bad. Maybe unless the person's view is this.
What do you think about ISIS?
Icers. Yeah, I like icers.
That's a take.
Let's welcome tonight's guests. Alcohol gets hung over from her. Fox News anchor Julie Banderas. Hair Club for Men wants him to be their spokesperson. Washington Times opinion editor and Fox News contributor Charlie Hertz. If laughter is the best medicine, his act is a placebo. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. And when he wants to relax, he chills out on cloud 9. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyrus. Alrighty. So, okay, Tyrus, you, my friend, have lived a bajillion different lives, lived in popular places. You're a bouncer, you're a wrestler, now you're at Fox News. So, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought you made a great point about we never hear about what we have in common.
Yeah.
And touring the country, and that's one of the things I think gives me an advantage. I'm always called a common sense guy because I know everybody. Like when you wrestle all over the country or do stand-up shows over the country or wherever it is you meet, all kinds of people, different walks of life, but it's always the same core thing. It's like they want the roof over their head, they want food in their bellies, they prefer no one breaking in the middle of the night, and they want to get along with their neighbors. That's literally what everybody wants. And so, but we never hear that. We hear every little thing that gets stressed out, or they take something that's not really true and they expand it and make it bigger and try to fearmonger us. But that is a phenomenal point. Like if we take the time to meet the person next to us, like at a show like this, you will find that you have a lot in common. Yeah. Not just the fact that you're enjoying a show and want to laugh, but then if you went to, I don't know, if you went to the View show and before you got into the cage fight, you might find that you guys eat at the same restaurant every once in a while. So have some common ground, take some risks, and maybe when someone starts talking about, I can't believe you voted for Trump, and you could say, well, I can't believe you bought those shoes. Those are awesome. Where did you get it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Change the narrative.
So, Julie, I'm going to give you a choice, okay?
Oh, God.
You can either say something nice about Joe Biden, or you can say something nice about Joe DeVito.
I think Joe Biden's face is looking pretty good. Honestly, if you think about it, he's 80 and his skin is tight.
Yeah.
I think his plastic surgeons should be given a round of applause.
Skin is still on his body.
I also believe right before the show, Joe was actually using tape to keep his shirt from opening to show too much chest hair. So I don't think Joe Biden has that problem.
No.
He has a lapel. You couldn't just sit nice.
You know what I say to that? What do you think of that?
Julie, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I thought those were my thoughts. No, I mean, I do think that people have more in common than we believe or want to admit to, but I think people are too stuck in politics. Who gives a crap who you voted for? If anyone starts talking politics to me, I'm out. But I think just people need to use more common sense and be more real. I think a lot of people are very fake. If you're real and yourself, I think you'll have something to talk about with the person sitting next to you. Don't talk to each other here, though, because
that would be very rude.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, so my next 2 shows are in Texas, but then after that, I'm going to Portland.
Good luck. Good luck.
See, that's what everybody says, but I don't want to limit where I can go and connect with people, and also I'm bringing Kennedy. So I feel like whatever's going on there, the weirdest thing that's going on there will be the 2 of us on stage.
Yeah, that's not the order I would do those 2 towns. I'd finish with the... Yeah, it's nice to, we travel around. I love seeing what it's like in different parts of the country. Some parts of the country call shoes sneakers. Other parts of the country call them tennis shoes. And some parts of the country, women prefer pepper spray. Other parts, they prefer mace. It's, you got to look for the commonalities, is what I think. It's like what they say that human beings share, sometimes you hear someone say we share 95% of our DNA with apes. And whenever I hear that, I think that person wants to a monkey.
Oh, interesting.
No follow-up there.
No, I suppose I never thought of it that way.
That's a first for all of us.
Yeah. Charlie, is there polarization on your farm?
No. And there's also science reigns. Nobody's confused about gender on a farm. It can be kind of rough for some of the animals. If you're a female chicken, if you're a hen, things can be a little rough, especially when it's time to go into the coop and the roosters get a little randy. You start to really appreciate law and order, because law and order is what prevents, is what brings order to society. But I think your opening is exactly right. And I think that you have two main culprits. You have the media, who exploit the differences and do everything they can to divide people. But politicians, especially in Washington, do so much. They always, they're always running, making promises to fix problems, and they never fix them. And the reason they never fix them is because they would never be able to run on their next election if they fixed them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we as people have to learn to hold them accountable when they don't fix things. And I think we're sort of at the end stages where, quite frankly, I think it's where so much of the politics about the weather. Now Democrats are going to fix the weather. They're going to fix the weather because they haven't been able to fix anything else that they've been promising for decades that they're going to fix. And we have to, we need to find our commonality and hold them accountable.
Can I say something real quick? When you go to Portland, you're going to get nothing but love.
Yeah,
because I've been there, and I'm doing a show in California. Ooh, California. It's sold out in like 2 weeks, and I had to do another one. Like, don't be confused with that. There's Republicans everywhere. You can always find them. They arms are crossed like Julie's, and they're usually going, this is ridiculous. But they're there. And let's not, hey, there's some weird stuff on farms.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like the young males. They start humping air and get lost and confused. There's all kinds of fun stuff to watch. You'd love it since the monkey thing. So check it out.
Yeah. You also don't have to be a Republican to enjoy my show. You should be a human, though. All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.